boys and girls, welcome once again to Ms. Etta's Academic Corner. I am so happy to see you, and you. All of you, matter of fact. Today we have with us Judah Sr., we have Mr. Lion, and we have Mr. Puma, who, Judah, you're going to sit down there? Okay. He has a headache, so it's okay. But he wants to still listen, which is great. These guys want to sit up here so they can be close to the book. You know, sometimes some of us have to be close to the reading or the reader so that we can hear better. Some of us need to sit closer to the reader so that we can stay focused and that we don't get distracted by whatever else is going on. And that's what we call, for the parents, proximity control. Tonight we're going to read a book, TJ's Lessons. And this is a lesson in listening. Written by Elsie Rogers and illustrated by Carlos Nieves. Soft cover book. We see yellow, orange, yellow, blue, white, a little bit of gray, brown, and black. Okay? So TJ, we can assume this is TJ. On the bottom of the cover, it has the website where you can actually go on tjslessons.com, and they have books in bundles. On the back, I'm going to show you, this is a picture of the actual TJ. He's older now, but this is a picture of him at one point. Hello everyone, I'm TJ. Will you come and join me on my adventure in learning? I may not always do everything right, but there is always someone there to show me the correct way to do things. Every day I am becoming a better me with the help of my friends and family. Are you learning to be the best you can be? Are you learning to be the best you can be? Well, come and stroll down the learning curve with me. Hey, don't forget to look out for my next book from the series TJ's Lessons. It's called If I Told You Once, I've Told You Twice. And it pays to be good. It pays to be nice. We actually have those books, and we're going to read them, but we're probably going to have to do it in a part 1 and 2 because they're longer than this book here. Remember, this is soft. Now, this is a lesson in listening. Mrs. Harris stood in front of the class and spoke to them about important facts from the past. Here she has on here, February is Black History Month. We all know that. So she's reading from a book about Black history, and she has a sketch here that's supposed to be of Martin Luther King Jr. She has up here Martin Luther King, but his full name was Martin Luther King Jr. It was the first day of Black History Month. TJ, Derek, and Elisa sat huddled in a bunch. You know how sometimes in school you sit with a group of people? Sometimes that's not the best thing to do. Let's find out. Mrs. Harris told the children about Martin Luther King Jr. He was a man who fought for equal rights. He wanted every person to get along and not fight. In the back, TJ and his friends joked and laughed. They barely paid attention to what was said in class. Now, if you're in class or you're in a learning environment and you're sitting, laughing, and talking while the person is teaching, you cannot hear what they're teaching. You will get pieces of it, but you will not get all of it. So here's a picture. Teachers teaching up front, the students in the class, and the three of them are looking at each other. They're not even looking at the teacher. They're looking at each other, and they're doing their own thing, right? They even have a paper airplane. Not a good sign. They're probably passing notes, reading notes to each other. Miss Harris told the children that Martin Luther King Jr. was a civil rights leader who fought for people of all races to have the same freedoms. Martin Luther King Jr. worked hard for us to love and respect one another so we could learn and play together no matter our skin color. Equal rights, freedom for all. Today, he would be proud to see that all boys and girls can go to school together because he wanted everyone to show love and do better. That's what the teacher said. Suddenly, Miss Harris noticed a distraction in the back. It was coming from the corner where TJ's and his friends sat. Look at them. Stand on top of the chair, getting ready to throw that paper airplane. Everyone, let's make sure we are paying attention, the teacher says. There are some very important things I'm about to mention. So the teacher's already saying, pay attention. Please pay attention. Sometimes your teacher will say, I need everybody's eyes looking at me. I need everybody's eyes up here. Sometimes your teacher will do like that, put their hands up, right? So that everybody gets quiet, so you're listening to the teacher for instructions to listen. TJ, Derek, and Elisa straightened up and focused their eyes toward the front. But before Miss Harris could finish her sentence, the three of them began their same old mischief. Mrs. Harris continued. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in 1929. Because of his hard work, he won something special called the Nobel Peace Prize. He also gave a speech called I Have a Dream. But first, he married Coretta Scott King. That says I have a dream. She's giving important facts. These are facts that are probably going to come on a test. When Mrs. Harris was finished, she told the class it's time to move on to the next task. Take a pen and some paper out of your desk. We have to have a surprise test. What'd I tell you? She sounded like she was getting ready to do a test. The entire class gasped in fear. Don't worry, said Mrs. Harris. It's about what we just learned here. Everyone let out a big sigh of relief. But TJ bit his nails with his teeth. Surprise test. Because TJ and his friends, they were playing. They weren't listening. He scratched his head. What was he going to do? His mom told him he should always pay attention, and now he knew it was true. TJ and his friends didn't listen to anything Mrs. Harris had said. They chose to joke and play around instead. Now, do you think TJ's going to do well on the test? Do you think his friends are going to do well on the test? Mrs. Harris walked very fast, handing out the test to the entire class. All right, class, you can begin your test. When you're finished, put them neatly in a pile on my desk. When they were done, one by one, the students came to the front of the class. TJ turned in his test last. And that's his friends walking away. They knew they didn't do well. Mrs. Harris graded the test right away and gave the kids a break to play. So everybody's having fun, chilling out there. What do you think is going to happen next? Because she's marking the test. After a few minutes, Mrs. Harris announced that everyone could return to their desks where they would find their scored tests. Everyone else rushed to their seats, but TJ, Derek, and Elisa dragged their feet because they knew, right? You ever get that feeling? You know, look, man, I wasn't listening. I could not have done well. I'm not in a hurry to see my grades. They all looked at each other when they got to their desks. Oh no, said TJ. I'm in a very big mess. TJ only got 2 out of 7 questions right. And even those were guesses. I'm going to be in big trouble tonight. So we know he got an F. 2 out of 7, that's not a passing grade. The bell rang and the kids raced to the door. But Mrs. Harris told TJ, Derek, and Elisa to wait for her on the reading floor. Everybody got to go. So I would assume everybody else passed their test. I don't know grades, they got A, B, C, whatever. I'm very disappointed in your grades today. Here in class, there is time to learn and there's a time to play. Maybe if you three would have paid attention, I wouldn't have to give you recess detention. TJ and his friends frowned. Tomorrow, when the other kids go out to play, you three will be reading about what we learned today. Mrs. Harris dismissed them to go to their next class. Elisa and Derek rushed out the class fast. And some of you might think this is wrong, but listen, if you don't know what was taught today, quickly you must learn it because the teacher has to continue teaching and you have to continue learning. TJ walked over to Mrs. Harris' desk. I'm sorry I didn't listen and failed the test. Mrs. Harris stood up and patted him on the back. Thank you, TJ. I know you really mean that. The next day, TJ, Derek, and Elisa didn't go outside like the rest. Instead, they stayed in, read, and retook the test. This time, TJ got all. I'm going to say that again. This time, TJ got all of the questions right. He even talked about Martin Luther King Jr. with his dad the previous night. So it wasn't that the work was hard. It was that he was being distracted. We've heard that word, not to become distracted. Even adults have heard that word, not to get distracted, to stay on the task at hand. From then on, TJ promised to always pay attention. That was the last time he got recess detention. He got an A+. He has the ability, him and his friends, to do the work. Now, if you had this book, in the back of it, there's a questionnaire. It says what special month was it in the book. And this is to help you with memory. If you didn't remember, then you would go back. What was the name of the speech that Martin Luther King Jr. gave? Your parents can help you with this. What were TJ and his friends doing that kept them from learning the lesson Mrs. Harris was teaching? Why did TJ and his friends get recess detention? What is the moral of the story? A moral is a lesson taught by a story or an incident. The moral of the story is it's real important to listen when someone is teaching you something. Do not become distracted. Do not play. Do not sit and talk. That's not the time of day to do that. When it's time to take a test, you want to know the information. You don't want to be penalized and have to take the test again. You can do it. If you need tips on how not to be distracted, ask your parents. Your parents can contact me. Again, you can reach me at ettaramming@gmail.com with any of your questions, parents. So, this was a lesson in what? Listening. It's important to listen all the time. When your parents are talking to you, when your teacher is talking to you, when your siblings are talking to you, put on that listening ear and you will be able to remember a lot. See you, boys and girls.